Hello and welcome to Game Club for the Select Characters Podcast, a weekly podcast about video games. And this is a segment we like to do where we pick a game every week, we play it, sort of enhance all of our experiences, learn a little bit about what's out there, and talk about it. It's a game club. So, we get the community involved and we talk to each other and we just sort of explore the whole wide world of wonderful video games. And this week, we decided to play Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And that was Ryan's choice, and I thought it was a pretty good choice, but what did you guys think in general?
I first want to know why Ryan decided to pick it.
Well, I decided to pick it because Counter-Strike is one of my favorite games ever, and I figured, with the new year starting, why not have our first game club be about one of the best games ever, right?
But is it really?
Right, Chris and Enrique?
Is it? Yeah, is it really, though? But before we start recording, we found out that this is actually a 2v2 match, if you want to call it that, because Ryan and Sam, they like that game a fair bit, and me and Enrique, we'd never played that game before, and we played it for the purpose of this segment, and neither of us liked it, did we?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I liked or disliked it. It's not a game that kind of grabbed my attention. I probably won't be playing it too consistently after the game club's over.
Yeah, I probably won't ever be playing it.
What were your guys' main gripes going into it? Like let's do first impressions first, and then where your gripes came in after that. But when you first started playing, how'd you feel about it?
I'm indifferent, and that grew into more indifference and light dislike, I think.
I felt a little left behind because even at the lower ranks, everybody already seems to know what they're doing and where to go.
Yeah.
So a match would start and everybody scatters in their predetermined paths, and you're kind of sitting there going like, "The fuck do I go?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You go B.
And that's especially apparent with the bomb scenario.
Yeah.
Stuff like that where people just know where to run, and as somebody that isn't familiar with the maps and stuff like that, it's very, very painfully clear who hasn't played that yet.
Yeah. If you don't know the meta, I totally get why just going into it blind wouldn't make sense. Because it'd suck. You don't know what to do, and other people are going to get mad at you because you don't know what to do, and you're hurting their chances to win just because you wanted to try a new game.
Yeah.
Kind of sets you up to fail. I understand that.
Yeah, and they were mad on several occasions.
Yeah.
Was this your first Counter-Strike experience, at all?
As a player, yeah. I thought that I had a decent grasp on the game because I've seen it being played at pro tournaments and stuff, and it's been around for long enough that everybody sort of knows what Counter-Strike is about. But when you actually play the game, there's so much stuff that you don't know, so many things that you need to learn, and it can be kind of daunting.
Yeah, I have to wonder if that was maybe the difference, because the last time I played Counter-Strike was probably 15 years ago when it was a Half-Life mod.
Yeah, same here. This is my first time with Global Offensive, but I played, the older Counter-Strikes back, when I was in high school, and back then my experience was different because I used to play at a LAN, we used to go to LAN Cafe after school, and I used to play with people that I knew, so the matches that we did were always with 8, of the same people in the same room. So I think the atmosphere there was also a little different because even messing up was more, there's a lot of trash talking, there's a lot of fun involved because everybody's there together, and it felt like a multiplayer experience, whereas now when you're going into it alone, Ryan was saying, it's a very, I don't want to say it's toxic, but it's almost hostile for newcomers.
Oh yeah, it's hostile for people who play every day. It's extremely hostile for newcomers.
Yeah, people get extremely competitive.
Yeah.
Extremely.
Yeah, and Counter-Strike has one of the problems that League of Legends has in that if you get put at a lower rank, which, if you've never played Counter-Strike, you'll probably be put in silver somewhere. You get put up against a lot of Smurfs because your account level requires you to get to level 3 before you can play competitive. So in regular matches, you're going to see a lot of Smurfs trying to get their accounts to level 3, and then in the lower ranked matches, you're going to see a lot of Smurfs, smurfing. So it's a hostile environment for. There was just a big thread about it on the CS:GO Reddit. There's a thread about it every day, but. They were just talking about how uncomfortable it is as a new player to come into the game. And I totally get that because there is, I feel like for Counter-Strike, for me, I feel like there's less of a meta, there's less studying that I have to do than a game like League, or any other MOBA for that matter. but there's still a lot of stuff that you pick up on as you play, and that becomes that becomes your realization of the meta.
Yeah.
And just going into it blind, I totally understand how it'd be like, what do I do? You know, because it's more than just go shoot the other guy. There's a lot of,
and it's a shame too, because the game itself, it's even though it's really simple, it's very well polished. It's an experience that I would really enjoy playing if I had the time to kind of get used to the controls and just kind of like learn the layout of the levels.
Yeah.
I mean, because like I said, it's beautiful in its simplicity. Like, there's really not much going on. Everything resets at the new match. You know, you can open up your menu real quick, buy weapons right at the very beginning, and then you're good to go. When you die, you start over again, and it's a really cool setup, and it's quick. But again, like you said, I mean, I got yelled at for daring to buy a weapon at the beginning of a match. Kind of thing,
yeah. People get really, really into it, which
apparently
I think is something we all suffer from when you play a game, you know, that much and you get that invested. But yeah, people get super into it, and I mean, I've been yelled at, like you said, for like, I don't have my grenades binded to certain keys because I don't care that much. But
right.
and so when you see somebody like grenades cycling, you know that they don't have those keys bound, and then people will call you out for it and be like, well, how you know, like, why don't you have your grenades bound? And it's like, really? That's what matters? Like, that's what matters?
I did learn to listen to the little metal sound the flashbangs make, so...
Yes.
I guess it suffers from the same problem as any game with a high skill ceiling. Coming in on the ground floor, and I guess especially in Counter-Strike, because there isn't really anything to drive you forward or make you want to stay with it outside of you just thinking it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
it throws you into the deep end. That's the problem that I have with it. It doesn't really ease you into the mechanics or anything. It's just, alright, you can either play with bots or play some casual games or just go competitive. And that's basically it.
Yeah, but what's nice about Counter-Strike is, I mean, it doesn't give you any incentive to, but if you start pulling at the strings on that Gordian knot, like, it just gets sweeter the closer you get to the middle of it.
Yeah, but if the hook is absent, at least for me, the gameplay hook that made me want to care about the game was just absent. You don't really want to tug on the strings, because why would you? You don't really feel a need to get invested in the game. Like, to me, I understand that Counter-Strike it's basically a household name. I mean, the franchise basically invented esports as it is, right? But I've played better shooters, and I've played better online shooters, at least for me.
What other, like, what would you consider as a better shooter?
I'm going to get fucking burned for this one, but, you know, games for me are more than the sum of their parts. You know, it's more than just the looks and just the mechanics. It's like the entire thing, and then if it makes me feel empowered, if it makes me feel good, then I'm drawn into a game easily. And for me, one of the best shooters, if not the best shooter I've ever played, is Destiny, because it is tight all around, and I like the aesthetic, and I like the sound design and everything. Yeah. And that game makes me feel tense on the regular. When I'm playing Counter-Strike, I'm just waiting for the match to be over so I have a decent excuse to go do something else.
Well, I know
I'll give it that, because even Destiny's PvP, like you said, it feels really sharp and just really gratifying.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think part of the, I don't know if I want to call it a problem, but part of the reason, like, we may like it so much is, I mean, I appreciate Counter-Strike not for it being like a shooter, but just because it's a game built around a structure, and I know all those parts, and I know how to execute all those parts. At least, you know, I know how to execute them, even if I'm not good at it sometimes. I know how it's supposed to work, and then, like, that's the
I think maybe that's where the difference is, because, like I was saying, you know, like, for me, I can see the value in it, and when the matches start, I can see everybody running off. They know the roles, they know where to go. Like, the guys know what areas to cover and, like, where someone's going to go through.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I had an understanding of that, like you said, it's almost like you kind of become another proverbial cog in the machine. So you kind of, you know what to do, and then you enjoy it more.
Well, that's what pulled me in, was just like a level of curiosity as I started to play it and wondering why did we just get shit on so badly? Looking it up, sort of reading about these things, learning like the way the angles are and where the good positionings are, how you should throw grenades, and then finding out that there's so much more to it than just quick reaction times and, you know, slinging the mouse around and shooting people in the head. There's a whole economic layer, sort of trying to gauge how much money the other person has and working with that the way the match goes on. It gets very cerebral, thinking about where are they headed, where did they head last time, and people, it's almost a little bit like poker in a way, in that people start repeating their own patterns and trying to see that and take advantage of it. There's a whole headspace worth of game there that is much above what it presents on the surface is just a Twitch shoot.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, I can definitely see it. But like I said, it's just for some people getting, I guess, crossing that threshold of being nubile at the game, and then crossing that little point where you can actually start doing the research and start kind of slowly get into it. I think for a lot of people, it's just harder to get in there where there's no real support structure set up for it.
Yeah. It's daunting to get into competitive.
It's daunting to get into casual.
Yeah.
I'll say this, dude. I really hate that backseat shooter thing that it has. Like when you're the last person standing, everyone's just watching you play.
Yeah.
And suddenly everyone becomes like a Counter-Strike pro.
Yeah. The dead people are telling you how to. But
Yeah.
It's stressful.
But I mean, going back to what Sam said, I think just like you said, it's not the fact that it's a Twitch shooter that draws me, and it's can my team beat the other team at this system, like everything it encompasses, rather than.
I mean, to be clear, I have like no reflexes anymore, but I can still top frag sometimes because my head works better than my hands do.
So
I don't know, man.
Did you guys play any? So like casual and competitive are both the bomb demolition mode thing, but did you guys play any of the other modes like arms race or deathmatch?
I did hostage scenario. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, hostage is fun. I got
deathmatch.
Did you like that better than?
Yeah, you'd think that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It just didn't click with me. Like, I'm not saying that the game is bad, because it obviously isn't. Like, millions of people are enjoying this, and there's a whole competitive scene that surrounds it. And when I look at other people playing that game, I can see that it's a very skillful game that has a lot of nuance to it and is very layered and stuff like that. But I just couldn't really find anything to sink my teeth into, or at least not anything that really interested me personally.
Did you play demolition mode?
I may have. Which one was that?
That one was. I found that one a little bit more enjoyable. That's the one that kind of does like a round robin where you can't buy weapons. It's just like you get a weapon around.
Oh yeah, I did play that one.
That one I felt was a little bit more easy, like a little easier to get into because it kind of removes some of the meta of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a grand equalizer, basically.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting to, because arms race, which is where you get every time you get a kill, you get a new gun. That's what got me into Counter-Strike Source back in whenever I bought it, like 2006 or whatever. But I used to play only gun game, which is what arms race was called back then. And that's what I played for years, and I never touched the competitive side, and I didn't even know how to play like regular Counter-Strike. And then when Global Offensive came out, some friends talked me into playing the regular kind, and that's how I got into it. Had they not convinced me to play like competitive matches, I'd probably still just be playing arms race, because I think it is that learning curve is just so steep, it's daunting,
But it's also got payout. So it's one thing to have a really steep learning curve that kind of sucks, but this one you can feel yourself progress,
Right.
which I think is really important. And also, I mean, you see results when you sort of spend the time to get into these kind of things. It immediately reflects itself in how you play the game. And the ranking structure, even though it is weird, I mean, and what with the reset, I had Nova 4 before the reset, and then I was a silver when I started this week. And I don't know what happened, but anyway, I'm trying to climb back up, I guess. Anyway, but as you play more games and as you win more games and your rank goes up, you sort of feel yourself getting better at the game as you learn more about it. And I think that cycle and that iterative process is really well reflected.
Yeah,
I didn't get that at all.
Well, I agree, because I mean, I've been playing it for so long. I know I'm much better than I was in the beginning, and then I still notice my improvements as I play more. So that's a really rewarding thing that I think kind of keeps me in the game. And also, I care about my rank now, and this reset is really hurting me, because I went from, I was MGE, and then I took a break from Counter-Strike for school for a little bit, and then I came back and I was Nova 4, and then I lost one game and went down to Nova 3. And I'm like, all right, cool.
That seems kind of
It's brutal.
Yeah, it seems kind of brutal in terms of like the punishment for that.
Well, it's not normally like that.
It.
They just like redistributed all the ranks, so everyone is. It's like one loss and you lose a rank. So they're just trying to.
So
knock...
it's harder to be at the top and easier to sit in the middle somewhere.
Yeah,
gotcha.
So
I think my issue is that I need to let go of the biases because, like I said, when I first started playing Counter-Strike Source and all that, the environment in which I was playing it was kind of set up what my ideal scenario is for it, where you're playing and you're trash talking. You know, I was playing it all the way up to like the first year in college, where even people in my room, we used to have massive LAN parties.
Yeah.
With like the dorm itself, we would all just get on the same server and go at it. And I'm kind of used to that scenario. So going from that to where the meta wasn't really existent, and you know, you weren't really punished for not playing the right way, going to a solo queue scenario where you know you're expected to know how to play, and if you don't, your experience gets ruined by everybody else. I think I just need to let go of like that kind of transition, just accept that, hey, it's just how it is. Ignore people.
Well, it's a thing like, do you love to win or hate to lose? Because I think that's where a lot of the investment in the game comes from. Because the game itself isn't going to do anything to draw you in or ramp you in slowly or make you keep coming along. You have to be, what happened there? How do I fix it? What is going on? How do I get better? And that process has to be what drives you.
Yeah, but you have to get over that hill of trial and error. Mm-hmm. And if you're very dedicated to the trial and error bit, which is a significant portion of what you play, especially at the start, and that's great. You know, if you like that, and if you're willing to try over and over and over again to figure out what you're doing wrong and to learn how to do things right, that's great. But I don't know, for me, being thrown in the deep end without any tools or any tutorials or something like that, nothing to ease me into the gameplay, I was honestly waiting for me to have fun, and after about 4 matches I still wasn't really having any fun, because I don't really enjoy that feedback loop of trying something, failing, then going back to the drawing board and trying something again.
Yeah, you have to like that treadmill, because you'll suck and you'll figure something out and then you'll suck less, but it doesn't stop there because all of a sudden you suck again.
Yeah, but I'm okay with like the trial and error bit, because I mean that's the whole reason I got into games like Dark Souls and Demon Souls, because those are games where you progressively get better by practicing. As cliche as it sounds, it's literally just hey, pop your head out, got shot, okay, don't pop my head out. You keep trying, and that's fun, and I'm fine with that. I think what did it for me was literally that the community I was involved with you need to basically ignore them, because they don't really condone an environment where you can do the trial and error. Mm-hmm. Or at least that's what it felt like.
No doubt. That's
that's kind of a fatal flaw of it, isn't it? You have this feedback loop, and then you have a community playing who hates it if you don't know that feedback loop, but the only way to learn it is to do it.
Yeah, but it's not the game's fault.
You just have to say, well, fuck it, whatever. Sorry, guys. We're going to lose these couple of games, so...
Yeah, and that's not the game's fault. That is mostly the community being the way it is now. No? Yes? I don't know.
I'm wondering if Counter-Strike relies too much on the fact that it is such a big game, that they're saying, you know what, we're such a household name, we don't need to bring players up to speed like other games do. They will simply because so many people are playing this, they're going to jump in too and learn it.
Well, no. I think the game itself does enough to teach players that, because, like I said, it's a very simple experience. You have the different game modes. They're not really that hard to figure out. It's plant a bomb, set the bomb off, or like, hey, rescue the hostages, or kill the other people. Like, it's a really simple set of rules. I think the issue comes that the game itself doesn't set the meta, it's the players, and it's a matter of trying to figure out how the players are currently doing it versus their expectations that you should already know.
Which shouldn't really be a problem if you play in casual, because you'd think that is meant for new players to figure out what it's like to play with other real-life team members, right?
When in reality, it's a Smurfs playground.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I went into casual games just expecting to play with other people who were sort of new at the game. I just, sort of do the trial and error thing with other people present. Instead of that, I got yelled at by people with very thick Russian accents who've apparently known my mother in a very intimate way. And that was within like the first 10 minutes of me playing that game. Like, jeez, what?
Well, actually, Ryan, maybe you can answer this, because, okay, so I'm familiar with the concept of Smurf, because, I mean, World of Warcraft back in the day, like, twinks were, like, a really big thing.
Yeah.
But I remember, more often than not, at least in World of Warcraft, twinks were kind of done to just make a beeline for the high ranks, where, you know what, I'm gonna, get my character, equip him with high gear, like, buy some high gear, and then just kind of, like, get all the wins off the bat. With Counter-Strike, you see Smurfs even in the casual area, so I can't imagine they get any actual... I guess, what do you say, reward, like in-game reward compensation for doing
that? The ones you see in casual are just ranking up their accounts to level 3 to get into competitive. And then the ones in competitive are usually, it's somebody has an alt account, so when they lose on their main, they get frustrated and they go to their Smurf and just wail on people. Some people do it, because they say they're playing with their friends or whatever, and they don't want to bring them up to, LE or whatever rank they are. And then other people say they do it so they can, like, they only use pistols or they only use SMGs, so they want to practice this one weapon, but they don't want to do it on their main account and ruin their rank, which, I don't know. I don't really agree with any of those answers, but that's kind of some insight as to why people Smurf in Counter-Strike. But yeah, it's just, it really makes the new player experience just shitty.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you have given me a reason to check this game out, because it has been a long time coming, really. I mean, I've been dodging that particular bullet ever since the game was first released, really. So I've played it now, and I'm glad that I tried it, but it's not for me.
Cool, yeah. I love it. I mean, Sam, you like it quite a bit, and Enrique, you're kind of whatever on it.
I mean, I do want to give it some more time, because I hate losing. And it's, I don't know, it's created like this weird itch in the back of my head where like I just want to keep playing it because I want to figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
I just gotta get over that, like I said, I gotta get over that hill of just ignoring everybody else and saying, hey, sorry guys, I'm just gonna be really shitty for the next few rounds, so good luck.
Yeah, and I don't want to be the person who sits here and says, hey man, just, you gotta stick with it, it's gonna open up for you, you just have to keep slamming your head into it. It will crack open, just be persistent, because that's sort of not fair. If you don't like it, then you don't like it. And it's
plus,
not
it's a really hard sell on a game. Like, dude, trust me, it gets really good after 30 hours.
Yeah, that's what they said about House of Cards, but I still don't like that. So, yeah.
Fair enough. I totally get not liking that shit, even though I like it. But, yeah, so, I mean, I understand, like, because I really like Counter-Strike, but it is one of those games where, even though I like it, I can hear somebody else say, man, I just don't like the systems that are at place in this game. And it makes sense. Yeah. It's not a game that I can't comprehend people not enjoying.
I mean, for what it's worth, like I said, I can understand like the beauty and the design of it being so simple and straightforward in a way. There's not a lot of overcomplication in the game itself. Look, you have your, like, the weapons never change. You can purchase them maybe every round. Like that same system repeats itself. So on the surface, it looks like it's a really easy game to just kind of sit down and pick up. That's why there's no instruction manual for it, pretty much.
Yeah, but
it is easy to pick up. It's difficult to be good at.
Yeah.
It's very Othello-ish in that way.
It's really difficult to be even proficient at it until you've played it for an X amount of hours, which is, to be expected of every new game. But I get the feeling that with a skill ceiling this high, it takes a while longer in order to be considered okay at that game.
Yes.
And that maybe more time than I'm willing to pump into that game, especially with all the other games that I already play competitively.
It takes frustratingly long to get to a point where people will say, yeah, you're a half decent player.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if I'm willing to get all the vocal that's not the word. I don't know if I'm willing to be abused by random players on the internet while I'm still learning to play the game, because after a certain point, playing against bots will not make you become any better. You need to play against real people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get shut down at every turn because you're not good enough and you're a detriment to your team, I don't really feel the need to jump on more. If I'm just going to be a pain to the other players on my team who are trying to win, whereas I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't know.
I think
Oh man.
It just, for me, I agree with that, and I think the only reason I've made it this far in solo queue is because I don't play solo queue. I play with a team of 5 people. And that makes it a lot better, because if you make a mistake, you get a okay, nice try, instead of some kid yelling at you.
Yeah.
So I think I may have dodged that bullet a little bit.
Now that you mention that, that's probably what did it. It's not so much the people yelling at you; it's the fact that like the whole team, that's technically a team, and you're not doing your part to help the team out.
Yeah, or you are doing your part, or you're doing your damnness to do your part, but you're just not good enough yet, which means that you're just a detriment to your team.
I'm the worst at Counter-Strike when I'm not paying attention, and whenever my attention lapses, and then somebody yells at me or does something like that and tells me I'm the worst person in the world, I immediately kick back into focus mode just so I can ram it down their throats.
Despite them, basically.
Yeah, and then that's often when I perform the best, so I don't know if I just extremely benefit from negative reinforcement or showing people that they're wrong or what, but often that's not the worst part of that game for me. But overall, yeah.
It was a good pick, though.
It was, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's a good game for everyone, even if you don't like it, to just play it, just to know, just to have that sense of what that game is. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't too terrible on you guys.
No, not at all. I mean, I won't continue playing it after this, but it was alright when I played it. I just don't see a reason to play it anymore.
I mean, for what it's worth, I'm not going to uninstall it.
That makes just one of you, buddy.
Fair enough.
Ringing endorsement.
Yes, that the select characters seal of approval. I will not uninstall.
Yeah. Alright, cool. Well, that was a good game club this week, and Counter-Strike was pretty fun, and tune into our weekly podcast, which comes out on Wednesdays, and find out what the game club is next week, and we encourage some audience participation. Give us your thoughts. Let us know what you think about these games and their various mechanics and concepts. We'd love to hear from you. You can send us an email, selectcharacters@gmail.com, YouTube comments on Reddit /r/selectcharacters, Twitter and Facebook. We want to kind of get a narrative going between us and you, so tune in and talk to us.
And if you enjoyed that, please consider subscribing to us, because we do this every week.
Yep, do that thing, and we're working on having a number of different videos coming out. Tune into the podcast, subscribe, listen, rate, all that good jazz, and we'll be back with another game club next week.